guys, it's Hazel here at The Right Copy Girl, and this week I'm going to be sharing with you my 8 favourite ways to grow your tribe. Now, if you've been following the vlog for a while, you'll know I spend quite a lot of time talking about content marketing and how powerful it can be in your business. Content marketing is a brilliant way of growing your tribe, but a lot of people ask me, well, exactly how does that grow a tribe? It's a really good question. How does producing really high quality content grow your tribe? Well, it's a two-part answer really. On the one hand, it grows a tribe of people who are interested in your specific zone of genius, in your specific niche, because you are actively putting out content that is about that one specific thing. So people are looking for information about that because they're interested in it. They find your content and therefore they find you. They become part of your tribe. And the more content you put out, the more people find you and the bigger your tribe goes. So that's the first part of the answer, but the second part of the answer, and the part that most people are usually really interested in, is exactly how do you get your content to grow a tribe, as in a specific group of people that you are targeting. We're talking ideal client here. What they really want to know is not how does it work, but exactly how do I target the right people to form a tribe that is right for me and my business. And that's really crucial, because if you don't have a strategy, if you don't have a plan and a really clear idea of the tribe that you're trying to build, you can end up with a tribe, but it's not necessarily going to be any good to you. Now, a really good example of this is if you are putting out content on a lot of different topics that you are interested in and you just like writing about them, and that's great. And if you're doing a personal blog or just an interest blog or a hobby blog, then that's a brilliant thing to do. You can write about whatever you want. But if you're running a business, changing your topics around and talking about lots of different things from week to week, it lacks any kind of cohesion, it lacks any kind of consistency, and it also makes it really difficult to grow a tribe, because the people coming to your blog are always going to be very varied. One week you'll be attracting one kind of person, one week you'll be attracting a different kind of person, and the people that you're attracting aren't necessarily going to be interested in your business. They might be interested in what you're talking about in your blog post or in a lot of your blog posts, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be wanting to buy what you sell. And that really is the name of the game. Building a tribe who want to buy exactly what you are selling. So today I'm going to go through 8 ways that you can use your content to actually grow your tribe by being really clear and targeted about who you're aiming at. Now, a really big part of this is knowing who your ideal client is, and I talk an awful lot about ideal clients in other blogs, other videos, so I'm not going to go into that today, but do check those out, and certainly have a look at how I use archetypes to really hone down exactly who your ideal client is, so you know what you're aiming for. So for these 8 tips to work, you need to know who your ideal client is, okay? So this is assuming you already know that, alright? So the first way of building a really dedicated tribe is one that a lot of female entrepreneurs use, and that is passion. If you share your passion, your very specific passion for what you do, and you share it in such a way that ignites that passion in other people, then you will quickly be able to build a tribe of like-minded individuals who are passionate about the same thing. So the key here is to make sure that the passion you're pouring into your content is a passion for your very specific niche, so that the people you're attracting are people who are going to be really passionate about what you can do for them, and therefore they will want what you have to offer. So whether it's products or services or your coaching or, well, whatever you're doing, make sure that you find a way to work in your passion for what you're doing in such a way that gets them really fired up about it. So a really good example of this is one of my favourite people to follow, and that's Denise Duffield Thomas, who is phenomenally passionate about the topic of money and making money and manifesting money, and it really shines through in all her content that she really cares about this, and not just about the topic of money, but of the actual process of making more money for yourself and living the life of your dreams, whatever that life may be. And she's really quickly been able to build a phenomenally powerful and dedicated tribe of followers who share that passion with her and who are interested in exactly what it is she is teaching, because just like her, they want to be able to release all their money blocks, find the way to manifest the money that they need to live the life of their dreams. So she's done that absolutely perfectly, and that's the kind of thing you want to be looking for. So you don't have to be teaching money, you don't have to be teaching anything, but just find a way to tie your passion for what you do into your ideal client's passion for what you sell. Now, the second way that you can use your content to grow your tribe is to actually be the inspiration that motivates people. Now, to explain what I mean by this, if you are, for example, a dieting expert, a health coach, a nutritionalist, anybody teaching people how to live healthier lives, eat better, lose weight, or fitness, how to get fit, how to get a six-pack, how to, run a marathon. It's really helpful if you have already been on the journey that they are about to embark on. So if you think of, if you've ever been to a Weight Watchers meeting or Slimming World or anything like that, the leaders of the groups are very often people who used to be Weight Watchers or Slimming World dieters. So they started off just as the average Joe walking in off the street wanting to lose weight. They got on board with whatever system it was that they were selling. They lost a shed load of weight, and they were so invested in it and they did so well in it that they actually went on to set up their own business teaching other people how to do what they did. Now, I've been to Weight Watchers meetings and even a few Slimming World ones, and they very often have before and after photos of themselves right there at the front, so you can see this is what I used to be, this is what I am now, and this is how I did it. And you can do it too. So you actually become the inspiration that motivates people, because it's really important, especially if you're doing something like fitness or health or anything involving a particularly difficult personal journey. And that can be anything really, building a business of your own is a phenomenally difficult journey. If you can be the thing that inspires them, that actually motivates them to get started and to keep going, then that's going to get you so far in building a tribe you would not believe. People need motivation and they need inspiration. If you can be both at the same time, then you're golden. The third way that you can grow your tribe using your content is to tap into a particular phase that your ideal client is going through in their life. So we all have stages in life, whether it's childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, middle age, menopause. There are age-related phases, and there are mood-related phases, there are mentality-related phases, and there are things that relate to your career or your hobbies or what you like to do in your spare time. So, for example, new mums are going through a phase. I don't mean that in a condescending sense, I mean the period of being a new mum is a phase in your life. Changing careers, that's a phase. Anything that requires you to actually sort of experience a particular thing for a set period of time. So this is the sort of thing that happens in your life for a finite amount of time. And during that time you often need a lot of support and help and people who understand what you're going through and have been there and can relate and can support you. And if you can tap into something like that, that is very specific to your ideal client, that is also related to your products or services or whatever it is that you're selling, then you can build a tribe based on that need for community, that need for support, that need for familiarity and people that know what you're going through and can help you through it. The fourth way that you can grow your tribe is related to phases, and that's life events. So life events are a lot more specific and usually a lot shorter lived than phases. So think weddings, think birthdays, promotions, retirement, the pregnancy, the birth of a child, the death of a loved one, if you're having a major kind of milestone that it has quite an effect on you. So things like graduating from university is actually quite a big thing to deal with, especially if you're going into the world of work. So that's a life event. Getting your first job, similarly, is also a life event. Loads and loads of different things, could go on forever. But it's in a very similar way to phases. If you can sort of hone down on the specific life event that your ideal client is going through, and not everybody will have one, okay? So my ideal clients do not have a common life event that I can tap into for this. It doesn't work for everyone, and these methods don't work universally for all ideal clients, okay? So you need to find the one that suits you. But if, for example, you are a wedding planner or a wedding photographer, or a wedding cake maker, or anything to do with weddings, then the obvious thing is that there is a life event that your ideal clients are sharing, which is weddings. And you can build your tribe by tapping into the fact that they are planning their wedding. So say you make wedding cakes. Most of your ideal clients aren't really going to want to know exactly how you make wedding cakes and what you do day to day to create wedding cakes. They like seeing the pictures and they like seeing, you know, the photos of the finished items, but they're not really that bothered about how you get there most of the time. What they are interested in, however, is absolutely everything else relating to weddings. They're planning their wedding, they're looking for caterers, photographers, tips, the perfect dress. So your content, as long as it is focused on weddings and how to have the perfect wedding, you are going to rapidly grow a tribe of people who are at that point in their lives where they are planning their wedding and looking for somebody to make their wedding cake. And there you are, just sat there waiting. The thing I will say about this form of tribe though is it's transitional. Okay, so if you build a tribe based solely on an event like a wedding, you have a very high turnover in your tribe, because people really only want a wedding cake once in their lives, you know, unless something goes catastrophically wrong and they end up getting married again. It's just going to be a one-off thing. They're only ever going to buy it from you once. And you might keep them in your tribe because they might, you know, follow you for interest in what you're doing, in nostalgia, but they're never going to buy a cake from you again. So it's the kind of thing where you need to be aware of the fact that if you're basing your business on something like that, you need to engineer your content in such a way that it is constantly current, it's constantly now, so that it's always attracting new people who are newly interested in the event that you're dealing with and who will be newly needing what you're selling. So the fifth way is to use the actual product or service that you are selling as the core of your tribe and build your whole tribe around that. Now, the best example I can think of this is Leonie Dawson and her planners, which I have somewhere. So I discovered Leonie Dawson a few years ago when I was first starting out in business, and I was looking for help in setting everything up and getting everything going, and I was really learning about how you run a business. One of the first things that I actually invested in terms of my own sort of development as a business owner was one of Leonie Dawson's planners, and this was several years ago now, but I've bought one every year since. So just to show you this year's. When I first bought it, it was just one book. Now it's 3. That's not a genius marketing strategy, I don't know what is. I literally buy this without fail every single year. I pre-order it as soon as it is available. I'm a member of the Facebook group. I have been to get-togethers with other local entrepreneurs when we've all sat around with our planners planning stuff, and Leonie has really built a fabulous community that is specific to her ideal client, which is entrepreneurs building a business, but really is focused on this one product rather than the fact that she sells her academy and, you know, her coaching training course. The majority of her marketing really isn't sort of geared towards getting you to buy into the academy, it's geared towards getting you to buy a planner. And that's a lot easier to convince people of. You know, these are, I think this cost me about 30 quid this year for the whole lot. You used to be able to get it for about 10 and 15 now, I can't remember exactly how much it was. But the point is, it was a very small investment to make. And with that investment, you not only got a really, really powerful tool to help you in your business, you got this massive community of like-minded individuals who could help you and travel with you on your journey through, you know, planning your business. And that's really what's made us so successful. But as a side effect of all of that, a lot of the people that buy her planners then go on to do the academy and pay for her courses, and you know, that's a really, really quite a big ticket item. So as a business model, that works really, really well. If you can find a product, especially a low ticket item, that you can get people really kind of fired up and interested in, and that you can build a community around, and that you can get people doing like group activities and having conversations about, if you can do that, you will build a tribe a lot more quickly than you would if you were trying to get them interested in an abstract concept or a very expensive item that they're not sure they're ever going to be able to afford to buy. Number 6 is geography. And I don't mean that in the boring sort of schoolroom sense of what you learned at school, I mean that in the literal sense. So if your business is local, so specific to a very small area or a particular region, then the easiest way to kind of focus and build your tribe is to target people in your specific area. Now you need to be a bit clever with this one, because if you're not careful you end up with a group of people who are all from one area but they're not all interested in what you have. So I don't advise you using this one on its own. I advise you tying it in with one of the others, but you can still very easily target people who are specifically interested in what you're doing but are also in your geographic region. And the way to do this is to actually tie your content into local events, local places, local things that are of interest to people. So for me, I don't actually do this at the moment because I don't work locally, I work internationally. But if I were going to do it, I'm just down the road from Knutsford, and Knutsford has a phenomenal number of things that happen, like the flower show, it's got Tatton Park, it's got farmers markets and all sorts of things like that. So if I were ever to niche down and target just local people to me, I would tie all of my kind of content into what was happening locally, and news events and things like that, so that when people were searching for non-business topics, they ended up reading things that were tangentially related to business, because they were looking for the news about their local area. And the good thing about that is that people will automatically kind of filter themselves out. So it can be a bit of a spray and pray technique, geography, but once you've got people who are in your local region interested in looking at your website and reading your stuff, they'll very quickly realise what you do, or at least they should if you've got your branding right, realise what you do. And if they're not interested in what you do, they will just count themselves out, they'll take themselves away. And that's done in a very nice, non-negative manner. It's just a case of, this is me and this is what I do and this is what I'm going to be talking about, and they'll automatically go, oh well, I'm not interested in that, and go. So you won't end up with a load of people who are local to you but not interested in what you're doing, because they will automatically count themselves out. But they will only do that if you tie the two together, okay? So you have to tie what you're doing to your geographic place. Number 7 is demographics. And this works a lot like geography in the sense that you have to tie the demographic or demographics that you're using to something that is very, very specific to what you're doing. Probably the best example of how people do this is to say that they're going to target female entrepreneurs. So that's a very specific demographic in the sense that 1, they are entrepreneurs, and 2, they are female. Now you might niche that down even further and say I'm going to target female entrepreneurs between the ages of 20 and 40 or 40 and 60. You might decide you are only going to target a particular nationality of female entrepreneurs between those ages, because your product or your service is of particular value to them. But this is one of those things where you really have to know who your ideal client is. You need to know exactly what kind of things they're interested in so that you can target them based on their interests. But you must tie it to what you do. Okay? You really must. And the last one is generations. And no, I don't mean the really crappy Star Trek film. Hello. Yeah, it's the ice cream van. We don't like the ice cream van, do we? No. Generationally speaking, people have very different attitudes, very different values, very different lifestyles and stages of life. And if you know that your ideal client is in a specific generation, so for example, the majority of my clients are millennials, like me. So that makes it very, very easy to target them, because there are certain things I know about millennials that can be targeted. Like, we are very interested in technology, we tend to be liberal and very tolerant, we really like our music and our pop culture, and we also tend to be quite interested in clothes. I don't know why, but we are. So if you're targeting millennials, and for the record that's anyone born between 1977 and 1995, you can use that knowledge of how millennials think and what they like to actually target your content to them and build your tribe around the specific things that they are really, really interested in. Now, the topic of how to target generationally is absolutely massive, and there is no plausible way that I can go through it all now. But really what I just wanted to do was demonstrate how you can draw distinctions between age groups. You can actually tailor your whole brand, and not just your content, but your whole brand to target your ideal client. So you can see the way I am is clearly targeted at my generation. That's not to say that I don't love working with people from other generations, I do. It's just the majority of my clients are from my generation, so my branding and my content is aimed at that particular age group, at that particular generation, and the demographics that go with them. There you have it. There's my 8 ways to grow your tribe using your content, and I hope you've enjoyed that and you found it useful. If you have any tips of your own on how to grow your tribe, I would love to hear them. And if you have any questions, then do please comment below, or email me, or head on over to the website and have a look at the other content that I've got there, because that might help you out. Also, do please like and share this video if you have enjoyed it, and tell everybody you know about it, and come back next week to watch some more. Bye!